Hello, welcome. My name is Shah. You have found my YouTube channel, and that means that it's time to roll out a yoga mat and sit with me on the floor. I'm going to guide you through yoga that is connected to internal family systems. So I combine internal family systems with yoga. What that means is it's Somatic IFS, or it's yoga that is very mindful of the different parts of our personalities that are showing up on the mat, the way that our parts are communicating to us through our bodies. Being in our bodies is being with our parts, is being with ourself. It's like, what is self-love? Is loving all the different parts of us, feeling the self within us, loving all the different parts. Oh, but to me, this is all so straightforward. And I know that for so many people, this is gibberish or completely brand new. Or maybe you really understand yoga, but you're like, what is IFS? Or maybe you're an IFS practitioner and you're like, I just don't really connect too much to my body. And you're kind of curious how I combine them. The first thing is to just literally turn your attention to the physical body. And we start to pay attention to the details, the subtleties of the sensations that we feel. Breathing on purpose. Oh God. Oh, it's still going. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties today. Breathing on purpose. Step one. You notice how fidgety I am today? So right here, I'm just going to be a living demonstration. The fact that I keep fidgeting is going to be communicating something very different than if I were sitting perfectly straight. It means that there are parts of me here. I am not completely in self-energy. I started recording this video a little bit before I grounded myself. So I still have parts of me jumping around that are kind of like, can anyone overhear me? Is this good lighting? Do I feel comfortable in this outfit? I just ate dinner. Should I be doing yoga right now? My stomach's kind of bloated. I don't like the fact that this little microphone is black on my shirt. Should I face this way so that the audience doesn't see it? What do I want to teach? Today I'm talking a lot already. I'm already talking. Did I want to actually teach yoga, movement, or did I just want to give a little lecture? So all of these thoughts are going on in the back of my head. And as a result, I start moving. I move to hide the microphone. I adjust to make my body look different so you don't see as much of my stomach. I adjust my clothing to make the clothing look a little better. I change my posture so that my voice gets a little louder or quieter and a little bit more bold or a little bit more shy. I turn towards the brighter light source so that my face will be illuminated, but then I realize I'm not looking at you. And then I think maybe you'd prefer to connect with me if I'm in closer. So I move closer, but then I'm touching the grass and it's itchy. And then I wonder if I should move the camera closer. Living demonstration of how much is going on in our minds at any one moment. And as you can see, I've just settled down in the center because I was able to separate myself from all of that and see all those different parts of me, see all the different thoughts. The thoughts belong to the parts of me. I had a part that's concerned about body image, a part that's concerned about camera and presentation and marketing and branding, a part that's concerned more about just my own, insecurities of being overheard or being self-conscious, bothering the neighbor, being seen, being vulnerable. These are different parts of me, and they were all chiming in, and so as a result, we saw all this chaos. And I was expressing it in my physical body because I'm on my yoga mat and I tend to be quite physically expressive. This same kind of thing happens all day long. Have you noticed that? Like when you're in a conversation with someone and you're talking to them, but in the back of your mind, all these other parts are triggering. A part of you is hurt, a part of you is stressed, worried about time, analyzing, preparing what you're going to say next, judging them, feeling guilty about the fact you're judging them, trying to think of what to say next, feeling bad that you're not somewhere else, like all these things. And if you're holding yourself really still, it might start to appear as rigid, like you're putting on a mask and you're smiling, but behind the scenes there's a lot of chaos. And in that case, it's rigidity. In my case, it was fidgetiness. And this is happening all day long to all of us until something disrupts that. For me, I like yoga, I like breathing and meditating. I like journaling. I like practicing IFS. IFS is the method by which I talk to my parts and build relationships with my parts. It's basically just, I have people inside of me and I talk to them and I check in on them like children and friends and teammates. I have meetings. Really, it's like IFS internal meetings that I have. Sessions. Doing these things reduces the feeling of chaos and it brings more space and clarity so I can see what's going on. And as I see more what's going on, it's like seeing it from a bird's eye view. These things are not inside me, controlling me, contorting me, moving me. Instead, I'm observing them and I can interact with them. And I can help them interact with each other, and I can help us all collaborate. And I can make compromises. And it brings back a centeredness and a connectedness where I remember it doesn't matter if my stomach is a little bit bloated from dinner. It doesn't matter if I have a black microphone on my white shirt. It doesn't matter if the lighting is perfect. Doesn't matter if someone overhears me. What matters is that I'm present and I'm connecting with you from my heart and I'm delivering a lesson that's flowing through from a place that feels inspired and true. And then there's a peacefulness. Peacefulness now in the mind. You can hear a peacefulness in my voice. And there's a peacefulness in my body. Peacefulness in the breath. It becomes more rhythmic. You may notice a difference in yourself now as well. You may have regulated with me, co-regulated by being with me on this little journey. Watching me be fidgety can make you feel more unsettled. And watching a person who's sitting in a state of peacefulness can help instill peacefulness in you. That's why I like looking at statues of Buddha, especially if he has a little smile. Looking at a state of serenity on his face it's a demonstration. Like I look at little Buddha smiling and I'm like, he's content. It's possible to be content. Just be like him. He just sits there. Sometimes we have to see it to understand. Someone tells you to be peaceful or content or relaxed, and you're like, yeah, that sounds nice, but how do I do that? What does that look like? And then you see someone who's just found it. How do you find it? I find it by rolling out my yoga mat, stepping onto it, and then watching myself. Did I just sit down and, I'm content, what a great day? Or did I get onto my yoga mat and start wiggling and twitching and stretching and avoiding things and like complaining and wishing I'd get off my yoga mat and doing all this? And you stay on your yoga mat until all those kinks are worked out, until you can finally just sit in contentment, which is the final pose. Sometimes we don't get there, but that's the practice. Do you understand what I'm saying? How is this related to IFS? It's because when you're on your yoga mat, your body's going to start moving in ways that are connected to your parts. If I tell you to do a difficult yoga pose and you instantly try and get out of it, what thoughts are in your head? Oh, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. Why did I start doing yoga? I shouldn't be here. I don't want to be here. Why am I so stiff? I hate this. Ouch, this hurts. That's a part of you. So we get curious and turn towards the part. It feels like it's you, but if you can create a little distance with curiosity to just be like, hey, why are you saying these things? What are you trying to help me? What are you trying to do? How are you trying to help me here? What are you afraid of happening? If I stayed on this yoga mat, what are you afraid would happen if I stayed through this discomfort and didn't run away from it? And you might notice there's another part of you that is afraid of quitting. What are you afraid is going to happen if you stay on your yoga mat when it gets difficult? And what are you afraid is going to happen if you quit and leave your yoga mat in the middle of the difficulty? Consequences both ways. If you give in to the agitation and get up and leave. I'm usually afraid that if I do that, I'm like, oh no, I'm not really choosing the best path for myself. I'm going to be agitated all day. My body's going to stiffen up. It's going to be uncomfortable. If I stay on my yoga mat, I'm like, ooh, I'm afraid this is just going to be so uncomfortable. It's just going to get more uncomfortable and more uncomfortable. And then usually I break through. And then there's a feeling of release. I think this is the same thing we experience when we're practicing IFS, is that we find a part of us that has emotional pain, and we'll usually feel it as a physical. There'll be a physical pain too. There's a pain, and we don't want to look at it, and we don't want to lean into it because it's going to get worse. And the good news is that if you do lean into it and allow it to get worse, you pop through on the other side and there is relief. But until you lean into it, that pain is always unresolved. You have to go through it, and it will get worse as you go through it, and then you will be free. Till you go through it, you're not free. You're still inside the boundary that fear of pain is keeping around you. It's not really the pain. The pain isn't keeping you there, is it? The pain's just there. It's the fear of approaching the pain that's keeping you inside. When you choose to face the pain, and even if it intensifies, and then go through it, then you're free. So we learn this in yoga poses in the physical body that are connected to the emotional body, the energetic body, the breath body, mind body. All that we are as human beings are here on the yoga mat, and we leave out everything else. We leave out the coffee machines and the vending machines and the cars and the comic books and the television remotes and the boyfriends and like everything, the high school yearbooks and the concert tickets, like literally everything else in your life is not on your yoga mat. The only thing on your yoga mat is you and the clothing you're wearing, but that's why I like practicing naked yoga, because then it's literally just me. And this yoga mat is like a little boundary that says everything inside of this rectangle is just me. What is me? What am I bringing to the universe? Like, not all that other stuff that's added to me, but the bare minimum default standard, like base level foundation of my life is me right here, my body. What's inside of it? What's inside of my mind? It's right here. So what is it? What's going on? What's the internal system looking like? This is the root. And you deal with this. And then you step off of the yoga mat and you can go interact with the rest of the world knowing what's going on at the core. So it's like having a really strong root or a really healthy core, strong foundation. All that other stuff is just stuff you interact with. It's no longer the cause of your happiness or sadness or anything. It's all external to you. Your whole universe becomes what's right here on this yoga mat. You can see how you react to everything else out there. Learn how to let go of it all. So you can literally sit here naked and you are complete. Your relationship with literally every other thing and every other person, every other part of the universe is outside of this yoga mat, and you are making peace with what's right here on the yoga mat. Okay. Enough. Namaste.